Happy Friday, BGD family. It's your host, Jamie Taylor, CEO of Black Directory. And we are back for the last interview for the third annual BGD Virtual Career Fair. It has been an awesome 2 weeks of just nonstop interviews with some excellent companies in the golf industry, 11 to be exact, and this is our 11th today. And I'm just excited that I've been able to share with you all some of the information on how to learn about opportunities in the golf industry, whether it be internships, seasonal jobs, or full-time positions. As most of you know that have been following this series, this is the purpose of having this event is so that you all can learn not only what's available, but also just see that golf has way more to offer than just playing the game and working at a golf course. And so that's kind of the goal of all this. And also, as a Black Golf Directory audience, we want you to know that minorities are a very crucial piece of growing this game and every aspect. So I'm just grateful to everybody who's tuned in and followed these interviews for the last 2 weeks. And for those of you who are new, know that if you've missed any of this interview or can't stay on for the full time, that you will be able to see the full recorded interview if you register at blackgolfdirectory.com. So make sure you go there today. It will be up probably throughout the weekend so that you can get the interview, as well as you'll get reminder emails for any upcoming internship opportunities and jobs from these different companies. So do that today. Don't hesitate. And without further ado, I have with me today the team at Golf Digest /Discovery. I say slash because I'm going to let them explain why, but I have actually quite a few members of the team, which I'm excited about, that want to talk to you about the different aspects of their company. So I'm going to introduce them one at a time so you can meet them, and then we're going to kick things off with them talking to you about all the things they have to offer. So I'm going to start with the editor-in-chief, Mr. Jerry Tardy. Can you please let everyone know what your role is at Golf Digest and just give them a little overview of what you do?
Thanks, Jamie. I first want to say you're one of my heroes in golf. You have done so much, and frankly, with not a lot of resources, you've done an amazing job, and I love the audience that you've attracted, and I hope we do a better job of connecting with that audience through this job fair, but also in the future. So thank you for that, first of all. This is a project dear to my heart because we're going to talk about internships, for example, and that's one aspect of our recruiting. But I started as an intern in 1977 at Golf Digest. So I've spent my whole career, 45 plus years now, at Golf Digest, but it grew out of a summer internship. And I think it shows the power of internships and what can happen when you have a passion for a subject and it grows into a job that never feels like a job because it's always been so much fun for me. Even now at my decrepit old age, I still enjoy it, getting up every morning and helping make Golf Digest a better media source. I used to think of it simply as a print magazine that came to people's mailboxes monthly. It's still largely that, but even bigger is our digital audience. And I think that's the exciting thing we want to talk about today, and try to get your audience connected to what the possibilities are with Golf Digest and our parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, which does a lot of things way beyond simply golf media, into cable television, movies, and everything in between. But my role is as editor-in-chief of Golf Digest is to oversee the golf relationship with the game and help guide strategy and content for Warner Brothers Discovery in the area of golf. We've been involved in diversity with some success and some failure, like the industry itself, for a long time. One of my first forays was in helping to work with the USGA to organize the National Minority Golf Symposium back in the 1990s. And that's how I got to know people like Bill Dickey and Earl Woods and John Merchant and Renee Powell and others over the years that have really been helpful to us in building relationships across many audiences. So I think that's a bit of an overview of what I've been able to do. But we have a great team behind us. Some of them are here on this call, and I look forward to connecting with even more with Black Golf Directory Job Fair. Thanks.
Thank you for that awesome intro. And I think we've talked a couple of times, but I think this is the first time I learned of your long-standing experience with Golf Digest, that you started as an intern. So I think that's pretty cool to know that you started there and now you're here as the editor-in-chief. So I'm going to bring on our next guest, who is representing Warner Brothers Discovery, so he can give you an overview of that side of the company, as well as and what they are all about and what he does. So I'm going to bring on Tyler Williams.
Yes, hello. Thanks for having us, Jamie. We're excited to be here. So my role with the organization is a professional recruiter. So just like it sounds, I help bring talent into the company. I work for, Warner Brothers Discovery. So kind of when you think of the big parent company of Golf Digest, that's who we are. I've hired everything from technology to marketing to over the past probably 8 to 12 months have hired 3 or 4 folks on the Golf Digest side of the house. But when you think about Warner Brothers Discovery, right, we're a large conglomerate. If you think of, cable TV, streaming services, you name it, we have it. HBO Max, Discovery, CNN, TNT, Warner Brothers, the movies. I mean, whatever you like to do, whether it's sports, nature, science, whatever, we have something for you. And again, my role is to bring that talent into the organization, and look forward to continue working on the Golf Digest side of the house and hopefully meeting some of you guys soon.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to bring on our next guest. She's going to share with you her role with the Golf Digest specifically, because obviously our audience, although they're not all golfers, may have an interest in the golf industry. So I'm going to bring on Keely Levins. Keely, can you share with the audience what you do?
Hey, Jamie, thanks so much for having me, and hello to everyone out there watching. I'm a staff writer at Golf Digest, and I also oversee our women's content. Like Jerry, I started off as an intern as well, and it's been my only job. So I love Golf Digest, and I've been here for 9 years. To talk about what we're specifically looking for in an internship this year, we're looking for someone on the digital side, which obviously Golf Digest does so many different things, but the digital component is pretty massive. And so we're looking for someone to help us out with the places to play section specifically. And I guess the easiest way to explain it would be it's like Yelp, but for golf courses. So we have accrued so much data about so many golf courses all over the country, and we're providing our readers with honestly the most specific, most comprehensive guide on where to play. So this is a really exciting aspect of our website right now, and our intern would be helping out with this section. And as anyone who works at Golf Digest knows, it's a really collaborative place. So just because you're hired to work on one specific project doesn't mean that you can't work on many other things. So our intern would also be involved in pitching stories, executing stories, and editing on the website. So there's so much opportunity, and it's such a great collaborative group of people, and there's so much creativity. It's a really great energy. And if you come with ideas, those ideas will be met with support.
Thank you so much, Keely. I appreciate that overview, and I'm excited to explore more about the internships. But speaking of interns, We have a former intern with us today and a friend of mine who's not a stranger to Black Golf Directory. We've done some podcast interviews with him in the past, but I want you all to meet him again if you didn't get a chance to listen to the podcast, and that is Mr. Langston Frazier.
Hi, guys. Good to be here. Jamie, thanks for the invite. Sherry, thanks for the invite. Again, my name is Langston Frazier. I am a former digital content intern with Golf Digest. I was with the team from January of 2020 to that April, right after the Masters. So kind of in my role, kind of worked with podcasting, as Keely said, worked with a whole bunch of kind of enterprise stories from clubs and golf courses. And I also worked on the hot list as well. Kind of currently in my role now, I'm a PGA professional at Belhaven Country Club in Alexandria, Virginia. And I'm also the Strategic Communications Graduate Assistant for Maryland Athletics, where I cover men's and women's golf for our Division I golf team for the Terps. So that's kind of what I do. And glad to be here.
Glad to have you, Langston. And for those who are maybe just tuning in, we're obviously with Golf Digest / Warner Brothers Discovery, and this is the team here. And I'm just so excited to have so many people representing this organization because there is so many parts to this organization, and I think that it shows already the commitment that you all are making to growing diversity in your business and in the game by just having you all here and to talk to the audience about what you're doing. So now that I've introduced everyone, want to kind of have each of you, and I'll kind of call you out because again, so many of us, as to explain further as to what it is that you're, I guess, looking for, especially for someone applying for opportunities. What are some opportunities that you all have available? And I'm going to circle back to Mr. Jerry Tardy. You don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but overall, if someone were to just send you a random resume, what is it that you really look for in a person to work at Golf Digest?
Well, let me start by just telling a little story about my personal experience. When I was 16 years old, I was watching a golf tournament really for the first time on television. It was the 1972 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. And at the time, I was new to the game, just getting involved and interested in starting to play myself. And Jack Nicklaus was my hero back then. And he won the tournament in heroic fashion, hit what's now become a historically famous 1-iron shot on the 17th hole that clanged against the flagstick, dropped down a couple inches from the hole. He tapped it in and went on to win the U.S. Open. I was, as a lot of us sports fans are, captivated by the moment, by the championship, by the television, the player himself. And the following week, I opened my Sports Illustrated and read an article that was written by a writer named Dan Jenkins about that U.S. Open. And it captivated me once again in a way that was even stronger than watching it on television. I got the humor, the poetry, just the romance of what had happened. And it kind of formed in my mind a new opportunity of, wow, wouldn't it be fun to be part of that world? Not good enough to play golf, not good enough to write like Dan Jenkins, but there was something there that was really exciting to me. And it ignited a passion that said to me, you can do this. There's something here for you. And I was also a reader of Golf Digest, and I thought, man, I could do that. And it was about that time. It's hard to believe maybe now looking back at it, but at 16, I wanted to become the editor of Golf Digest. And having a target, having something that you really feel strongly about, that's a powerful tool in getting a job, starting a career, and making it your life. So I have kids. They don't have. They were all careers and had some missed starts, and they're starting again. So I know not everybody travels a one.
think we lost you a little bit there, Jerry. I'm going to hopefully get you back on, but in the meantime, I'm going to, just for the sake of keeping going, I'm going to have on Tyler to talk a little bit about what he's got going on at the Warner Brother Discovery.
Yeah. So, and Keely can probably fill in better kind of what we're looking for as far as on the Golf Digest side of things, but on the internship side, just as far as the process and things along those lines, right? They'll be posting pretty soon open internships for the spring. So kind of like when Langston was with us kind of through January, April, May timeframe. So you do have to actually go online and apply for those roles, and there's a total, if you go to the career site on Warner Brothers Discovery, you'll find an internship section, and then you'll find all our internships there, from Golf Digest to, HBO Max, to any types of skills and things that you're looking for there. And kind of how that process works, everybody does a video, right? I think it might be a 90-second, maybe 2-minute type of video, kind of talking about who you are. And a lot of times there's some, from there, those videos will be sent to whoever the hiring manager or who's going to be your manager for the internship. They get those videos. And from that point, there's other steps in the process too, where it might be, it's more videos, right? That's the times that we live in now. Everything like we are right now, we're on video here. But then there'll be certain questions that'll be asked, maybe 5 different questions. And from that kind of drills it down even more. And then that's really where the selection process takes place from there. One of the great things I think about our internship program too is, right, it's everywhere, right? A lot of it's done virtually, but, you're interacting, you look at Jerry and Keely and myself, we're in different areas. And you're going to be interacting with people all across the globe. I say the globe, but mainly across the states when you're looking at internships here. And the internship program does a lot of inclusion for the whole group, where you're just not, you're going to learn Golf Digest and so forth a ton, but you're going to learn larger about Warner Brothers Discovery too. And you're going to be involved in projects with different types of folks, right? So, if somebody, if somebody's doing a staff writer internship at Golf Digest, that skill set's different than somebody that's a software engineer, and different than an accountant, and different than somebody in marketing, but they'll pair you up with all those people. And a lot of these people, I know a lot of these interns, they'll have their Facebook pages or, group me's and things like that, and they'll stay in touch for a long time. So you get the great experience of working, right? Everybody, if you're in the golf world, everybody recognizes Golf Digest, but as a, little more holistic, you get to meet different people, learn different parts of the company and so forth. So that's, they really do a great job with the internship program. So that's just a little bit of kind of the process and so forth of how everything works. And we'll have a spring, and they also do summer internships as well. So, if anybody's looking for summer internships, that's typically probably mid-March, somewhere in that time frame. That's when those internships will go out to the website. And again, the process is the same. It's just, right, you're looking at doing something that's that June to August timeframe in the summer.
All right. Well, thank you for that overview. Jerry, I'm going to let you go ahead and finish what you were saying earlier about the Golf Digest. And then Keely, I'm going to kick it to you to talk a little bit more as well about what you all look for when people are applying for opportunities with Golf Digest specifically. Go ahead, Jerry.
Thanks, Jamie. I guess my main point was that I look for some of the soft qualities in a person, like the passion they have for the subject. You don't have to be a good golfer, but having a passion for what you do counts for a lot. Curiosity. That's if there was one word that I would put out there as a determinant of whether someone's going to be a success. Certainly in our business, it's having a curiosity about people, about the news, about the subject, about what's happening around them. Because if you are able to connect and have an insatiable desire to want to reconnect, that really counts for a lot in developing your business. Langston, we'll get to Langston in a minute, but I think Langston's a great example of those two qualities. He has a great curiosity and a real passion for what he does. And you don't have to spend 2 minutes with him or less. And you want to spend more time. So I'll turn it over to Keely for more detail.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, when hiring for the website, I think Jerry hitting on curiosity is so important. And with that really comes the openness to ask a lot of questions. And we look for people who are wanting to learn, and people who do have a good understanding of golf. And that doesn't always have to be like a very strict passion for the professional game. Like, so much of what we do is service, which would mean instruction and equipment. So if you're not as interested in the tours and news writing, there's so much other types of writing that we do. And I would also just say that, with the digital platforms, like, there's so much going on between the website and all of our social channels and everything we do with video. It's really important to us to have people that are really well organized, and have the ability to focus in on a topic. And when you have an idea, bring it to us, and if that idea gets approved, just go full speed with it. We love working with those types of people, and I'm sure there's a lot of them out there listening right now.
Thanks, Keely. So you guys get some great information about just what you're looking for, and I do have some follow-up, but I want to bring on a former intern, Langston Frazier, who has experienced it. And I could just tell the audience, if you didn't catch his introduction, he's a golfer. He's gone to a PGM program at the Maryland Eastern Shore. So he does have that background in the golf space. But unlike most people, I think his passion went in a different direction. Obviously, most of us either go to the green grass facility right out of school, or at least that's what we want to do. But he became part of the Golf Digest team. And so I would love for you to speak to that, Langston, as to what made you even think that was an option, because that's something I certainly wouldn't have even thought of when I was in college.
Right. So my time at Golf Digest was actually my last internship before I graduated from UMass, which obviously Jamie mentioned. I was in the PGM program. It's the only HBCU in the country to have that major. But I was going into my last internship, and I just had time. I was taking 2 or 3 classes, and I just had time. I was like, okay, let me see if I can do one more internship just to kind of boost up my skills. And obviously I knew a couple people that knew Jerry, and I keep getting this team. You need to talk to Jerry Tardy. You need to talk to Jerry Tardy. I was like, okay, I'll reach out to him. I'll talk to him. And I reached out to Jerry and kind of told him what my kind of career aspirations were and what I was currently doing. And this is kind of where I see myself going in the future. And obviously went through the application process to apply. And next thing you know, I was a Golf Digest intern with the digital team, which was really a great experience, even though it was during the COVID phase of having interns. But it was one of the first internships that Golf Digest did that was completely digital and virtual. So even though everybody was based in New York, I was, on campus, still working, 20, 25 hours a week, doing content for them, which was really, really cool, because if it wasn't digital and virtual, like we're doing the same kind of panel symposium right now, never would have got the opportunity to go to New York, especially from January to April. That wouldn't have been possible. So my internship experience was really, really cool. Obviously, I got there the first couple of weeks. It was right before the hot list dropped. And so I was knees deep in the hot list. I think it was a 2021 hot list. And so I got to work with a whole bunch of our great editors and kind of write about these golf clubs and what's hot that was coming onto the scene at that time. And it's rare that you have an internship program. Typically, you do an internship program, you're doing little things, you're getting coffee for the bosses, blah, blah, blah. But like Golf Digest, and I say this with all sincerity, they throw you right into it. You can ask questions along the way, but they want you working on real real content that people are going to see. So when you leave your internship, or if you don't leave your internship and you end up staying there, which I know one of our cohort members, Gabby Herzog, or Hertz's, I think is how she, her last name, actually stayed for another 2 weeks. And the next thing you know, she was going to stay full time. So she's still there now, writing for Golf Digest. But they want you working on real content, real problems that, you know, our viewers in the Golf Digest community gets to see in real time. So when you leave that internship, you can say you had, you know, a hand in that space. And one of the other things that I wanted to mention is talk about real world experiences. I was actually at Golf Digest when Tiger Woods got in his accident. You know, don't want to take a sad turn, but to see a major news body that is reputable in the game of golf, reputable in the world of sports, cover this live minute by minute action by having, you know, some of the editors, Stephen Hennessy, go on CNN and all these different outlets saying like, hey, here's a time by time minute, because you can have anchors from, you know, your traditional news sites cover, you know, a big world, you know, in the golf space, you know, a breaking news situation, but to have these editors, these writers and the producers and reporters talking about a real life issue like Tiger Woods in real time that cover him day in and day out. So to get that minute by minute kind of spread of how that whole situation went down. Thank God he's okay. And it could have went either way, but to have the positive outcome that we did with that, and to see how kind of that breaking news situation works was a really cool experience.
Wow, that's a very interesting thing to have to take on in an internship role. But I just want to go back because you are very humble as always, Langston, and you said very easily that, oh, someone just said talk to Jerry Tardy, and you know I do Jerry. Well, I know most people don't have connections to the editor-in-chief at the Golf Digest and don't even know how to go about it. I mean, you have that natural confidence, and I think obviously we've heard in several interviews that confidence is key. But beyond the confidence, can you speak to, other than the PGM program, like what did you have to do to navigate to get to know the Jerry Tardys of the world and get to know how to find these opportunities? Because I don't know that a lot of the people watching this even know where to start.
Right. So it's funny how it all kind of happened. My major at UMES was PGA Golf Management. So obviously during that program, you got to do a green grass. So I did a green grass. I went to 2 high-end resorts. And then my first stop after that was actually Golf Channel. So I went to Golf Channel, worked there for 2 summers, and it's kind of persistence and perseverance. That's the real world, you know, experience that I like to describe it. Perseverance is how I like to describe it. So putting yourself in certain situations, whether that's working in the athletic department at Maryland Eastern Shore or doing content with the president's office, and you get to see a theme and a brand with what you're trying to do, because the more people that get eyes onto what you're doing, it all makes sense down the line. And so I ended up starting a podcast, which is kind of the business and sports podcast, predominantly focuses on golf, where I get to talk to different business leaders around the world to kind of, you know, talk to and see where the golf space is going from diversity and inclusion, kind of a whole bunch of different things from kind of the hospitality side, the media side. And that's really where it kind of started. And just keeping that persistence of, you know, it might take you a while to get to your goal, but that's how it really kind of happened. And so obviously my degree is in business and hospitality, but I really wanted to be in golf media and journalism. So I ended up applying to grad school right out of undergrad. So now I'm here at Maryland, where I'm in the Philip Merrill College of Journalism broadcast journalism program covering sports. So I'm into my last semester, the spring semester. But I primarily focus on golf, right? So I get to work with our athletic programs at Maryland, and I get to cover that. And that whole opportunity came about with being at UBS doing the same thing for them. So one of the things that you'll get to see being at Golf Digest, being at Golf Channel, you know, these other agencies that cover golf news and just news in general, the industry is very small, and we all know each other in one way or shape or form or another, and we're all connected. So depending on what you do in this space, people get to know about your work and your work ethic, and it's not all about doing a project and getting a byline. Whether you're writing about the Masters and you're talking about Tyler Shafrachi playing in the Masters, it doesn't matter about that. It's all about your work ethic, and eventually people will start to notice, and that time will come, and you get a phone call from Jerry Tardy saying, "Hey, we need to talk." So that's kind of how that happens, and that's kind of my advice. Persistence is key. Persistence and perseverance, definitely, for sure.
Wow, it's hard to top what Langston represents and the way he just presents himself. But that's it in a nutshell. I learned a long time ago from the founders of Golf Digest the little things, and maybe it's too elemental for this audience, but having the courage to go up to meet strangers, especially older people, putting your hand out to shake their hands, looking them in the eye, introducing yourself. That goes a long way. Have a smile on your face, because if you're happy with yourself, you're going to be happy in a career. I think in a lot of ways, and there are bumps along the way, but I think it starts with having a great attitude about yourself and having the courage to put yourself out there. And Langston obviously does it every day in everything he does. But that's a great message for all of us.
Yeah, thank you for touching on that, Jerry. Like I said, Langston said it so well. And I think a lot of people, if you see Langston as a former intern, you're like, man, I got to be at that level. But I know having talked with you alone and seeing what you do, Jerry, on the Golf Digest side, that you are very open and available to people. And I think if people just take the time, like you said, to just introduce themselves, reach you, get to know you, and have a conversation about what they can provide and bring to the table, you at least are willing to listen. And I think that's a huge thing that people need to know, because some people don't even know, like, hey, I could talk to Jerry Tardy. Like, that doesn't seem real to me. So I want to actually switch gears and go to Tyler, because then we're going to stay on the internship path. I want people to be clear about if they should apply, where would they be going as far as, like, is it all remote? And I know you can't speak on every aspect of Warner Brothers in Discovery, but just generally speaking, like, would it be remote? Would it be hybrid? Where are the locations if they would have to go? Just give us an overview of that.
Yeah, and I think each role depends. Now, Keely and Jerry might be able to help me out on that. If you guys require that person to be in New York, or if you guys are open to remote. I know each internship is geared towards that specific team. But I know with the team being basically mostly in New York, is that where you'd want it, Jerry?
Yeah, I think this particular one in the spring is probably still a remote opportunity. Keely, is that right, or is it based in New York?
From talking with Steve Hennessy, who would be the editor overseeing places to play, it sounded like it would be like 2 or 3 days a week in New York and then otherwise remote.
Okay, yeah, and I think you get a lot more out of being on site, especially right in the internship and so forth, seeing the company, right, and that goes to, like Jerry mentioned before, don't be afraid to go up and introduce yourself to people. It's hard to do that on video, but if you're there in an office and so forth, that obviously that you just get so much more out of being on site, even if it is just 2 or 3 days a week. I think it's vital to get that experience.
I can't underscore that enough. You learn a lot as an intern, but so much of it is in the corridor or outside the actual one-on-one learning process between editor and intern. A lot of it is by osmosis, by just observing successful people doing things well, and sometimes not doing things well. You learn as much sometimes from that by observing it and by seeing what works and what doesn't work. And if you can do that in an office environment where you're actually physically with the people, being in the meetings, walking to and from the meetings, going to lunch, maybe striking up a game of golf on the weekends, those are great opportunities to learn. And I think remote is great. It saves time and it offers opportunities that may not exist otherwise. But whenever you have an opportunity to be in the office environment, side by side with coworkers, you're going to learn more.
Thank you both for kind of giving us a clear understanding of that. And I agree with you, having worked in a company before, and just, you like you said, Jerry, you can learn things you shouldn't do and should do when you're in house. Keely, can you speak to just when people apply, what path should they be on, maybe in college, like degrees that would make sense for what work that they would be doing with you? Because I just literally had this conversation last night with a friend about, if your resume doesn't reflect what they are looking for in regards to, did you study this? Did you get a certification in that? That could be a hindrance in getting a promotion even. So could you talk to, if they're in school right now and they're looking to work for your internship, what degrees should they be pursuing or to kind of make it look appealing for you all?
I think that with, something like the internship that we're talking about here on the digital side, a lot of us have like liberal arts degrees. You don't have to be incredibly specific. A lot of us have focuses in journalism. Personally, I came in with an English degree with a focus in creative writing. And while I was working at Golf Digest, I got my master's in journalism to kind of round things out there. But yeah, a lot of the people that we work with have, English writing backgrounds with focuses in journalism. And then there's also a lot of communications, marketing. And your major is not going to be a real hindrance on your application. There are people that are interested in a lot of different things that can be successful in this role.
Good to know. I just want to be sure because, again, never crossed my mind to apply for a job at Golf Digest when I was in college. And I just want to make sure that there's no specific things you're looking for. But you did mention journalism and English. And so, if let's say I'm not in those majors, does it help for someone to have some type of portfolio? I mean, what is the expectations? Because I just don't know how you, I guess, assess people's skills other than an interview for that type of role.
Yeah, getting to see writing samples is always helpful because part of this job outside of, data collection and so much organization of the data and photos for golf courses on places to play, you'll be involved in the editorial side. So we want to make sure that it's someone who has a good sense of writing and who can also edit. So we'll probably ask you for writing samples. That was part of my own internship interview process. I submitted several different writing samples, and it's just to get a sense of, where your writing skills are at.
Thanks for that clarification.
I would add just one thing, Jamie. Being detail oriented really helps. I over the years, I've gotten so many letters from folks who are looking for a job and they've spelled my name wrong. That is a big hurdle to get over. If you haven't taken enough care in learning to spell the name of the person you're writing and asking for a job from, that's a problem. And I think it's important to have respect for the work and for the job and for ultimately the audience you're writing for, or doing a video for, or doing a podcast for. So being in the business of journalism in media, it sure helps if you're detail oriented. I mean, we love creative types. We love people who come with big imaginations and ideas, but you got to get the facts right. And a lot of times in the digital world, there is no editor or fact checker or sometimes even a legal department that's there to backstop you, because sometimes it just goes right out. And if you bring that skill of being careful, that puts you a leg up on a lot of people.
I'm glad you brought that up because honestly, I think I don't even know if people check grammar anymore. You got all these apps out there, Grammarly and things. I don't think they always know how to to be that or detail oriented, but that's a great skill to have. I'm going to kind of wrap it up on a high note here and just ask each of you to share some of the perks. Like, give me a 1 or 2 perks that you feel you've gotten from working for the company, be it an events you get to go to, be it just it doesn't have to be as basic as your health benefits, but just something that you feel you gain working at the company over the years and that you see as a appealing piece of working for Golf Digest and Warner Brothers and Discovery. So I'll start with you, Tyler.
No, one of the things I love is just all the different people we get to interact with across the globe, right? I mean, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, but I'm working with people in New York and LA and London and stuff all the time. So it's really cool to get the different, perspectives around our country, but also around the globe. And also to kind of toot our horn again. I mean, no matter what direction we kind of want to take a career, Warner Brothers Discovery is a company that has those avenues. If you just go to our website and look at all our brands, I think you'll be astonished. I mean, I don't know how long the list is anymore because I can't keep track. I don't know if I can count that high, but there's so many different avenues in the organization. And also just with the audience we're talking to now, we do have, the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece is huge. We just hired a chief DEI person as well. So we really do have across the entire organization, not just on the golf side, we do have a push for DEI within the organization as well. So it makes you feel proud to work for a company like that. And the company's always giving back, makes you feel good when you work for a place, with the hurricane, right, that just went through Florida. The company is matching whatever employees want to give towards, the Red Cross, whatever the company's giving a full match to that. So those are just some of the things that I enjoy about the organization and really think it is a great place to work.
Great. Keely, why don't you tell us some of the benefits you've seen or had?
The feedback that I get from a lot of my friends is I can't believe you get to call what you do a job. I get to spend so much time with professional athletes and out on golf courses that you do kind of have to pinch yourself and be like, this is what I get to do. This is who I am as a professional in the workplace. I was just at Pebble Beach 2 weeks ago and my husband was home on his computer all day like usual. So one of the benefits is, being the envy of all of your friends. And I think one of the other benefits is working for a publication that is so respected. And with that, you get to really feel the effect that you're having on the golf community with everything that you write and produce. And, that's just such a special thing. Like, that's really all you can hope for with your job is that you're able to make some sort of difference. And, I think every writer at Golf Digest has a story of, someone reaching out via Twitter or LinkedIn or sending a letter and, thanking one of us for a story that we did and how it impacted them. And that's just, that's such an incredible thing. And it comes from Golf Digest being such a respected publication. People take what we do seriously. And, it's an honor just to work for a publication like that.
All right, Langston, tell us some of the perks.
Yeah, so some of the perks for sure is like Keely said, just working for a major, publication and to be able to say for whatever time span you're working at Golf Digest is you work for Golf Digest. People always head turns like, really? It's like you work for like the magazine and the digital, like, yeah. And it's always a conversation starter. But I would say one of the big perks is even after your time at Golf Digest is over, you're still part of the Golf Digest family. And so I still talk to a lot of the same people I work with when I was there. One of the interns, like I was saying earlier, is now works there full time, and I still talk to the internships from the intern class I was in. But I guess one of the obvious perks is you get to do some freelance opportunities. And so right before I graduated, you and me, as my time at Golf Digest was over, maybe about 3.5 weeks, and they were hosting the PGA Collegiate Invitational at TPC Sawgrass, and I actually went down to Sawgrass to cover it for Golf Digest that summer. That when they kind of got the boost from some major corporations to kind of host it at TPC Sawgrass, I covered it for Golf Digest, and I was the only one there. And that's when kind of Howard was on the scene for that as well, and won that event. But I still see some of those same college coaches now, even in my athletic role covering golf for the Terps. But I think those opportunities that you get to do even after your internship is over is really, really cool.
And Jerry, could you share your perk other than going from a summer intern to the editor-in-chief of, of the company?
Well, I echo my colleagues. I think the people you get to hang with is the greatest perk. And I'm not just talking about the presidents and princes and Hollywood stars some of us have been lucky enough to get to know and become friends with, actually, in some cases. But it's folks like Keely and Langston who we can get to hang with on a more regular basis and maybe go out and play golf with and have the successes and sometimes the failures of searching for stories. And when they hit, it's the greatest feeling in the world when you have friends that say, "I read your piece," or "It was great," or "I saw you on this video." I mean, that's a tremendous reward. And then finally, to echo Tyler's point, golfers who give back. We have an award we give every year. It's called the Arnie Award, and I think it's become the highest honor that we bestow on people. And it's around the whole idea of charity. That golf is the most charitable sport in the sense that every golfer contributes back to the game, to their community in many different ways. And it's the Red Cross tournament that's held on the Monday at your local public course, or it's the Pro-Am that you watch on television, and a lot of events that span in between. But golfers have a desire to give back, and I think that makes the game fun and rewarding, and it's part of what keeps us involved. So there's a lot to golf.
Yeah, no, those are all great perks, and you're right. That's it's good to know that working there, the writing piece is huge, especially if you go beyond Golf Digest and decide to write a publication, have that stamp on your resume of having published articles for Golf Digest. I think is huge. Well, I want to thank everybody for just being on the call because, like I said, this is, I think, a new territory for a lot of people. You know, people definitely in our community, specifically the Black community. I don't think we always think about golf in this way, in this space. And so I'm hoping this will really help a lot of people kind of open their eyes and consider not just for themselves, but maybe friends they know to look into this type of opportunity for, like you said, internships or employment opportunities. I either would kick it to Keely or Tyler or maybe Jerry, whoever wants to take it on, as to just letting the audience know where they can go, where they should go to apply for these opportunities, remind us when the next current internships are coming up, and the other ways that they can find out how to get involved with Golf Digest.
Tyler, can you do that?
Yeah, so that, like I said, the internship should go up probably here in the next couple of weeks. One thing you can do, and it'll be on WarnerBrothersDiscovery.com. If you go to the career section, there's a separate section just for internships there. Also follow us on social media as well, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. Our internship team will actually put a post out there going, "Hey, internships are coming up in a week," and then they'll put one up, "Hey, internships are live now, apply," and so forth. So just follow us on social media. And you should get alerted to that. And I mean, I can at least get you in touch with the right person. Feel free to shoot me an email. I mean, it's Tyler_Williams@discovery.com. Pretty easy to remember. I mean, I'm happy to try to get you in touch with the right person. But again, if you go to the website, follow us on social media, you should be able to see all the updates.
Perfect. All right. Well, you heard it here. The Golf Digest family is welcoming interns soon. I'm sure that if there's employment opportunities, check that out as well on their website. And I want to just thank everyone again for your time, for sharing all this great information. Thank you to those that followed and watched the interview. And for those who are, again, just catching the interview on the back end, you can watch the full interview recorded by registering at the blackgolfdirectory.com to get this full interview, as well as all of the internship and job updates. So with that, I'm going to say adios for 2022. This was a great 2 weeks. And thank you, Golf Digest family, Warner Brothers and Discovery. And I look forward to seeing you all next year for this, the 4th annual Black Golf Directory Virtual Career Fair. See ya.